My name's Steve Beards. I'm the Regional Vice President for Quip for APAC. My job today is to talk about how to complete projects a lot faster, 37% faster, with Salesforce Quip. How many people know a lot about Quip in the audience? Just a show of hands. Well, great, excellent, welcome. So just a quick view here in terms of forward-looking statements. Being a publicly listed company, what we're going to show here is a few of the future areas of Quip. Everything that's in GA, of course, you can buy from Salesforce. Everything that's new and futures, of course, is something that we are not GAing at this stage. So what are we seeing in the journey of the employee experience? We're seeing a lot of this going on where employees are very driven to do their role, to be successful, not only in the corporate environment, but also in the community. But there are a lot of issues that cause problems. I think the number one is productivity. I saw a lot of you using your phones there before we kicked off, probably emailing or texting. Email is my biggest issue, I don't know about you guys. And what we're trying to do with Quip is make a very easy productivity tool to allow you to run projects, sales, marketing campaigns in a very productive way. You'll see that later on today. And so the whole thing about Quip from an architecture perspective, which you'll see during the demonstration, is to have all of these solutions at the top very easily deployed. It doesn't take a lot of training to get to use Quip. It's all about just getting to use it and using it in anger. But importantly, you've got the platform below. You've got all the things that you would expect as a customer in terms of all the APIs to allow you to configure and use it with other systems, to be able to be secure, access control to your users, all taken care of in a private cloud. So what are we seeing from our customers? You all know Salesforce, very good at the structured data, where your customer data lives. You expand on that as you go in your Salesforce journey. But what we're seeing more and more is all of that unstructured data that you collate from projects, from team meetings, from marketing campaigns, which you can all store in Quip. So all of that information can be in the unstructured content, but you can attach that to your data in Salesforce, which Celso is going to take you through later on. There's a lot more integration now between the two solutions to allow you to keep structured and unstructured together. What does that give us? Again, this productivity thing. It allows us to deliver projects much, much quicker and to have all the data in one place. Not that issue of me sending the wrong attachment out, finding the project files the wrong one, finding a drive on your network. Everything is in one single place. And so the productivity tool, which we're going to take you through today, has a lot of features. One of the best things about it is identical experience, whether you're on a desktop or a mobile. So a lot of our AEs in my organization are able to communicate using exactly the same data. There's no login. It's a native experience on Quip, on the desktop and on the mobile. And importantly, with all of you here today, all sorts of companies of all sizes manage projects using Quip. We've obviously highlighted the big ones there at the top, but they're all managing many, many hundreds of users and using Quip successfully to manage projects. Some key stats, the one I like is 43% email. If I said to all of you today, you go away and you use 43% less email in your day-to-day lives, you'd probably be happy. I find email a real pain. 38% fewer meetings. If we're using a productivity tool where we're all on the same page, we don't need to spend hours during the day meeting just to update different teams of people in our organization. We can cut those barriers down and be more productive. And what we're going to talk today, both from the demonstration and also with one of our Trailblazer customers, is how we can deliver projects much quicker as well. I'm going to hand over to Celso here to show you from a demonstration perspective how to run a project in Quip.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? All good? Brilliant. So I'm Celso Munoz, I'm the Quip specialist for APAC. So the idea today, I'm just going to give you a quick run through Quip, very high level. We've got different people from different industries and segments here. So I'm going to give it very generic, but I encourage you to come to the Quip booth afterwards, down over there. And we can talk more in particular to your particular use cases when you come visit us. So let's have a look at Quip. So just a little bit of background story of Quip. If you guys were at the keynote, you would have seen Brett Taylor present, our Chief Product Officer. Brett was actually the co-creator of Quip. So he made it really easy to use when we developed Quip. Brett's background, he was co-creator of Google Maps. He created the like button at Facebook, and then he left to create Quip. So you got some of the best developers in the world putting this platform together. So to start off with Quip, it's really easy to get started. On the right-hand side here, you can create new documents, new spreadsheets, new slides. Today, I'm just going to show you a new document. Like I said, at the booth, we can show you all the others. But let's create a new document here. So let's start, just call this for generic purposes. Let's call this Project X. And like any project, you need to have a date to this. When's this due? So what I'm going to bring in here right now is one of our live apps. So what makes Quip really great and awesome tool is that we have other apps that live inside of the platform. So in this case, we're going to bring out the countdown tracker. So we can set the date of when this project needs to be finished. More importantly, what we actually need to do is actually start adding the people that are part of this project. So let me go to Share and add Cindy, Elliot, Sue, and Simone. Let's get everyone on board. So no more having to send out those lengthy emails, who did I forget to CC, or if I send an email out with a Word document or anything like that and I forget to add someone, then it's really hard to then get them back into that email chain. With Quip, it's really simple. Just go to the Share button and just add them to a document. And really, once you start using it, you really hate email afterwards, because there's nothing worse than having to get a document, add it to an email, write some context. Me personally, I just go in and add people, and that's the whole purpose of Quip. It's all about self-serving. So let's continue with this project plan. Let's put our project tracker. And as you can see, I'm using the app button a lot, because the app button in Quip is your best friend. And that allows you to bring in objects, other live apps, you can @mention people, you can @mention other documents. So let's put project tracker in here. Now this is actually one of my favorite apps. It can be really dynamic. Like a lot of the live apps that we have, you can actually change them around. So instead of project, I can call this stages, and I can put stage 1. I can start adding the owner, and that owner will receive a notification here on the right-hand side. These are all your notifications. We can set the status. Well, actually, this is already overdue, so let me create overdue, and let's make that red. Whoops. Perfect. Now let's set the date. And I don't really need any attachments to this, so I can just delete this column. But I do actually want to add a free text. So if anyone has any notes, they can put that in there. Now these are all the native live apps. We also have the ability to bring in Salesforce records. So if you've got the enterprise version of Quip, you can bring in a Salesforce record. That could be an account, an opportunity, or any custom objects that you might have. So let's say for this case, let's just bring in a contact who we're going to focus on, or an opportunity. And I can bring in this record. Now the beauty about being able to bring in Salesforce records is that you might have people that are not part of the team, or do not have a Salesforce license, but are part of the greater team that actually need to collaborate on this project. And some of that Salesforce data is required for this project, and that person does not have access to those records. But now, adding this Salesforce record, they can actually see some of that Salesforce data. More importantly, we now need to drive action. So the whole purpose behind Quip is driving action. So what we built into Quip is a Kanban board. So anyone got Trello, you might want to consider changing. What we have is you can start creating all your to-do lists. You can mention people, particularly in this certain section. Let's let me just type this in, start plan. And let me mention Cindy. So now she's already working on that. We can see that Cindy's already reviewing this document. She's already on it. And hopefully I'll get a reply from her shortly. Now these are some of the native live apps. Obviously it's free text, so you can write anything you wish in there as well. But I'll show you some of the third-party apps so we can actually download apps from the App Exchange specific to Quip. One that I particularly love is Draw.io. It's a free app. And you can bring in any of these different diagrams. In this case, this is a project, so I want to bring in a Gantt chart. So we can see, just going back a little bit, we can see that Cindy has now replied to my message. So I'm just going to go back up here, and I'm going to move this along from the to-do list to in progress. Perfect. I can jump into my Kanban, and let's open this up. And I can start adding additional things and add more things into it. So it's that simple to do Quip. So really think about your own use cases, how it is for your own industries. I'm really just showing you the high-level features and apps. These are a lot of the bells and whistles, but you can really just start off really simple. Just start doing with your meeting notes, account planning. If you're doing for marketing, you might use in your campaign. We have integrations to Marketing Cloud, and shortly to come, we'll have Social Studio as well. If you've got service, if you want to escalate service tickets to more complex documents and have more people collaborating on that service ticket, you can use Quip as well. So one of the other features I just want to show you quickly is how we can start conversations. So you can have individual chats with your team as well, not just having them in the actual document. So that's the beauty about Quip, is having that productivity and the communication on the same page, but we understand that sometimes you want to have one-on-one conversations. Now, something that's just come out that's new to Lightning in the platform is the ability to actually edit Quip documents in the Salesforce org. So let me jump into that. So this is your normal account that you would see in your org. Now I'm going to go into account plan, and you can see that this is actually a Quip document sitting inside of the Salesforce org. Not only can I visualize, but I actually go inside and edit these documents. So we've got the checklist here, which I can go off and check. I can go into the conversation, and I can see what they've been talking about. And this is all what I was mentioning about the transparency, self-serving. That's why Quip was such a great fit through the acquisition of Salesforce, because in Salesforce we're all about transparency and trust. And Quip allows you to, when you share that document with someone, allows you to bring them on board and actually self-serve, see what the questions were asked. So when you all think about those long email chains, sometimes you get the same question over and over again. With Quip, they can go in and see what the conversations were already had, and if those questions have already been answered. So in this case, I'll just like that off, and that's done. We have, and even though this is showing in the account, this particular feature can be added to any object in Salesforce. It's part of the Lightning. So you can have this for account planning. You can see this, we've got this for business review. In opportunities, we use it for mutual success plans. So one thing a lot of our account executives do with big projects is actually run mutual success plans where they add the customer onto the document, and it's a collaborative document with the customer. So you can share Quip documents externally as well. And that allows you to actually get a better hold of where that opportunity lies. So as I said, this is just a very high-level overview. If you want more in-depth knowledge on how we can build this out for your particular use cases or your particular department, whether it be marketing, HR, we can do that for you guys at the booth. But what I want to do next is actually invite our guest speaker here, who is from one of our customers, Modern Star, and also bring back Steve to start with questions.
Great, thank you very much, Celso. So we're very delighted to have Janet here today. Hello, Janet. How are you? Janet's from Modern Star. She is the Salesforce Innovation Manager, the GM of that business unit within Modern Star. Has been going through a lot of growth. So welcome, Janet. I hope you've had a great day.
I've had a great day.
Can you please share with all of us a bit about Modern Star and your role? I'll just bring up a bit more information.
Okay, so Modern Star is one of the leading suppliers of educational resources, toys, products for schools and stuff across Asia Pacific. But we have a number of brands under our banner, as you can see. So we have 2 separate rep teams on the road. We have a centralized customer service team that works with all of those companies at our head office here in Sydney. Okay. And we have our distribution warehouse up in Brisbane. So the company has grown substantially over the last few years. We were bought by a private equity company about 4 years ago. Okay. And we've seen acquisition and we've seen substantial growth during that time. Great, fantastic.
And what were your issues really about sharing information? Because that's, with the acquisitions you've been driving, it's quite a complex business model.
So the first instance we used Quip, we'd actually seen it at Dreamforce, and then we were looking with one of our acquisitions, we needed to communicate between their business in Melbourne and our IT team here in Sydney. Right. So we chose Quip as the product to do that, to start managing that project, and then we've grown from there.
Right, okay. And how did you get that initial adoption within the organization? You say that it was the sales team. From a project perspective, how has that materialized?
It's been a little bit slower than I would have liked, to be honest, but I think people in their individual departments are quite set in their ways. But as we've grown and a lot of our projects have gone across departments, that's where we've really seen it come into its own, of bringing somebody from each department in to work on that project. We have definitely seen less email, less meetings. And then what we've seen is that those heads of departments then start using Quip in their own department for other projects.
Okay, so it's it's self-driving. It's
kind of,
really,
yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. And how do you see the Modern Star business going from now in terms of...
Well, I'm really keen to see the integration to Salesforce. I've already put it on the page layout, but the things with the account planning, managing our supplier relationships, I think could be a very powerful tool. And my GM of marketing has just told me that she heard about the integration with Marketing Cloud. So she's a very passionate Quip user.
Excellent.
So we'll be also looking at that, I'm sure.
Great. And for the audience here today, what do you think are the things that you need to look at from a cultural organisation perspective before embarking on a project like Quip?
I think it's just driving that change. It is a change, but I think once people experience it, so if you start it quite simple and they experience it and they notice the less email and the visibility and the easier collaboration, one of the projects I'm currently working on, we're only meeting like once a fortnight, whereas previously we would have been meeting probably 3 times a week. So I think once they've had a taste for that, I do think it sells itself.
And last question before we go to Q&A, obviously a lot of people here today have got other systems in their environment. So how do you integrate with those other systems that you use from a project sales perspective?
We kind of, I guess now we're just using Quip and Salesforce. I think the IT team had different tools to use before. Right. I personally didn't use them. So for me, because we were such an avid Salesforce user, as soon as we saw this at Dreamforce a few years ago, it was kind of, the decision was kind of made for us because we were happy with the other products and we just figured in time it would be integrated into Salesforce, so let's go that way.
Okay, fantastic, brilliant. So we've got an opportunity now to actually ask Janet some questions around the success she's had at Modern Star. We've got a microphone here. If anyone's got any questions at all, please raise your hand.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could explain...
I can't hear that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
No. Can everyone else? All right. Just want to ask, when you say less meetings, do you mean less meetings, let's say it's like customer success onboarding? Are you referring to less meetings in the sense that less people need to collaborate to know what's going on because it's about having the chat inside the document space?
Really, well, it's less meetings because the people that went to the meeting can have any follow-up inside the document. And then if at any point we wanted to include somebody else that wasn't in the meeting, we can just share the document with them. So it's really about if we had 6 people at the start, previously we would have probably had 3 meetings a week, and now we're sort of having one a fortnight. And then any follow-up just goes into the Quip document, and the next meeting we quickly review that follow-up and move on to the next thing. Oh.
All right. I have a question. Is this only for projects, or do you also manage portfolios and programs using Quip?
At the moment, we're just doing it for projects, but I'm really keen. Our inventory team and marketing team are looking to use it for plans with our suppliers, and I'd like to do the same thing with our customers. So I think using it for account plans, maybe internal account plans between the sales rep and their manager, and then also account plans between the sales rep and their customer, so that we've got that visibility stored inside Salesforce, complete visibility of what the customer has agreed to with us if they've got a 1-year contract about something. Good.
Okay, I think that's it for questions. So just wanted to wrap up. Thank you very much for your time today. 3 calls of action. We've got a campground behind us here where we have a Quip booth. We can go into more detail, maybe map a scenario that you have within your organizations. We've also got an opportunity to get some data to you. If you can tap on the way out, you'll scan your badge to get some more information on Quip. And we've got a 30-day free trial, and probably the key thing I would encourage you to do is use Quip. It's very easy. I've learnt it that way. Trial it in your organization first. So again, have a great day at World Tour, and thank you very much for your time.